Hi everybody, Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets.
Hi everyone, I'm David Aragona, and welcome to the March 16th edition of Horses to Watch, where we carefully analyze trips from the past week, looking for horses that might have encountered adversity and could be worth betting back when they run back in the future. This week, the focus is going to be on first-time starters that ran last weekend at Gulfstream Park. I've got 3 replays to talk about, all of them highlighting first-time starters, and none of which finished on the board. These are all horses that finished out of the money that might fly a little bit under the radar when they run back, but I think they all did some sneaky runnings in their debut. Let's begin with a race from Saturday, March 12th. This is race 6, a maiden special weight event going 7.5 furlongs on the turf course for the 3-year-old males. Let's break these runners from the gate, and I want to focus on a horse that ultimately does finish pretty far back in this race, but pay attention to the opening quarter mile for the number 7 Guard of Honor. There he is highlighted there in those pink silks, and check out what happens right here. Things got really tight heading into the clubhouse turn. He's going to get badly squeezed back, and right there you can see he actually clips heels slightly between horses as the field just comes over on him heading into that break for the turn. And that's a really negative thing to happen for a first-time starter, especially in a turf race that doesn't appear to feature that much pace. You can see the front runners, those 2 gray horses on the lead, Khufu and Riot House. Their riders are both restraining him. They didn't go 28 seconds for the first quarter, that a fraction that popped up there briefly, but it didn't appear they were going that fast on the front end, so things are really slowing down. And on this head-on shot, you can see just how far back that number 7 Guard of Honor is in those pink silks towards the back of the pack. He was way back in the early going, and really in a race like this that's dominated towards the front end, where the 3 horses that have any success are running 1, 2, 3 early in the race, you're just not going to be able to close from the back of the pack on a horse that encountered the kind of trouble that Guard of Honor did at the beginning of this race, clipping heels and encountering all that adversity with traffic trouble. He's briefly going to come into the shot here as they round the turn for the quarter pole, and you can actually see this horse ran by 3 horses at the back of the pack, made a bit of a move to try to reach contention, but these horses that were on the front end just have way too much left in the late going, and they're going to sprint away from this field late. Guard of Honor ends up losing this race by double-digit lengths, but given the nature of the Gulfstream Park turf course and the way this race was run with the pace scenario, I don't want to put too much stock in the ultimate margin of defeat on this horse. I think that he did a little bit of running and had that adversity at the beginning of the race that makes me want to give him one more chance. He's going out for trainer Gail Cox, a Woodbine-based barn, so maybe this horse, as an Ontario bred, will show up at Woodbine when the season opens there. Maybe we'll see McKeeneland next time out. I know sometimes Gail Cox has a small string there, so we'll see where this whole horse shows up for a second career start, but one that I do want to keep an eye on because he's the kind of horse that could be a big price when he runs back. Let's take a look at another race from that Saturday, March 12th card at Gulfstream. This was 3 races later. Race 9, a maiden special weight, going 6 furlongs on the sloppy sealed main track, also for the 3-year-old males. Let's break these runners from the gate, and I'm focusing on another first-time starter. This one, the number 8, Proven Hope. This horse is in turquoise silks, a chestnut with the white bridle. You can kind of see him in the middle of the pack there. He'll be highlighted in just a second. And his rider, Emilio Jaramillo, is hustling him out of the gate, but he gets shuffled back a little bit, and you can see him here as they randomly switch to this head-on shot at Gulfstream Park. That's him with the very skinny white blaze, kind of bouncing back and forth between horses, getting shuffled back, and there he is all the way on the right of the screen, the number 8 horse in those turquoise silks. He began towards the front of the pack, but just didn't have the speed to keep up and got badly shuffled back all the way towards the tail end of the field as they round the far turn here. But given the fact that he was shuffled back so dramatically in the opening furlongs, check out this middle move that he makes. I think it's actually pretty noteworthy that he starts passing horses quickly on the outside here, and he's going to go from about 10th or 11th place all the way up into about 6th as they come to the top of the stretch here, but he's doing so while racing very wide. He's covering a lot of ground while making this middle move, so it's not a big surprise that ultimately in the final quarter mile, he's going to flatten out in the late stages of this race, but I thought he did pretty well to get up into about 5th place here by the time they reached the 8th pole. But again, this was a race that did not feature a whole lot of early pace, and the horses that had forward position early end up doing pretty well. You can see the fractions at final time. They went 46 to the half, finish up in a pretty quick 1:10 and 2. So this was a race that went pretty quickly through the late stages. So a horse like Proven Hope really didn't have that much chance to continue to make up ground through the late stages of this race. If you look at the Timeform US pace figures, a couple of the fractions are actually color-coded in blue for this race, indicating that it really was a slow pace that favored for the placed runner. So given the way that Proven Hope ran and the fact that he took no money at all in this race, I think he went off at upwards of 40-1 for trainer Mark Hennig. Just feels like a horse that showed some hints of ability and should be cranked up to put forth a better effort when he shows up next time out. This horse does have some pedigree. He's by Street Boss, and he's out of a dam who is a full sister to Grade 1 winner Square Eddie, who's a pretty versatile sire, can get horses that run on turf and dirt as well as synthetic. So given that this one's by Street Boss, wouldn't be surprised to ultimately see him try the turf at some point, but I just do think generally this horse is better than the result that he put forth in his career debut on Saturday at Gulfstream. Let's finish up with one more race from the Sunday, March 13th card at Gulfstream. This is actually the final race of the week there. Race 11, a maiden special weight, going 7.5 furlongs on the turf course for the 3-year-old fillies. Let's break these runners from the gate, and we're focusing on yet another time starter. This was the number 5 personal best, a debut runner for Shug McGahee, a Joe Allen homebred, a very nicely bred filly, I should say. She's by Tappet, as that gray coat would indicate, and her dam was the very good Grade 1 Flower Bowl winner War Flag. So this one has the pedigree to be a pretty nice turf horse, but just given the way the race is run, it feels like Shug took a pretty old school approach to this one's debut, because you can kind of tell the way she's being ridden and the Jose Ortiz body language, Jose Ortiz being her rider this day, just not really cranked up or intended to win first time out. And this is a race where some fractions do pop up on the screen. I know that you can't put a whole lot of faith in the fractions that are being displayed at Gulfstream this winter, but these do feel pretty legitimate. And what they do suggest is that this was a pretty slow-paced race, and that's kind of apparent in the way that it's run, because the two horses that ultimately do finish first and second in this race are the two that are first and second right now, moving down the backstretch. The 5-1 shot, How About Dem Apples, and the number 4 horse at 30-1, Frozen Solid. They'll complete the exacta in this race after dominating it up front throughout. But all the way on the right of the screen, check out that number 5 personal best, that gray filly who's coming into the screen right here. And you can see she kind of got shuffled back a little bit around the far turn. Jose Ortiz was trying to move up or between horses on the far turn, but she got shuffled back behind a tired runner. She's going to go out of the screen here, but believe it or not, this horse actually does ultimately finish 4th in this race. She's passing horses quickly as they cross the wire, and we're just going to get a brief shot of it on the gallop out. But after these horses cross the finish line, you can see kind of that gray blur coming through into 4th place after they cross the line. And once the final horse crosses the finish line, check out that gray horse coming back into the screen. And there's the number 1 who won the race, How About Dem Apples. And that number 5 personal best was actually going right on by her. We just got a brief shot of it. If you watch a different replay, you can actually see a little bit more of the gallop out. And personal best actually goes right by the eventual winner into the clubhouse turn. And Jose Ortiz is kind of waving the stick at her into the clubhouse turn to get her to gallop out multiple lengths ahead of the winner of this race. And that just says to me the instructions on this horse where she's probably not ready to win first time out, but give her a really strong ride through the stretch, gallop out well, and we're going to stretch her out next time, and she'll be better prepared for that after having gotten a little bit of wind in her lungs for the clubhouse turn run of this race after the finish line. So just feels like a horse that, even though she took some money in this race, wasn't totally cranked up to win her debut, and one that probably will do better with a little bit more ground in her subsequent racing. So those are all the horses to watch for this week. If you want to add any of these first-time starters to your stable mail on DRF.com, just go to Horse Watch on the DRF website. You can add these horses to your list and get email notifications when they run back in the future. Thanks for tuning in this week, and make sure to catch future episodes of Horses to Watch on upcoming Wednesdays.